So we've talked about different sources of funds that are available to you. Now I'd like to share some insights to how I use certain processes to make sure I can use those funds effectively. So the first thing is I leverage specialists. There's lots of debt finance available there. So I've got a mortgage broker that can go to the market and can look at the options available to me. Again, the good or the bad thing is there's lots of mortgage brokers out there. What you need to be aware of those as an investor is that you need a specialist broker that works with investors, that knows the kind of projects that you typically carry out, that knows the difference between products that are available for you, so you're ensuring that you're compliant with the products you're going on to, that knows how to access short-term funding, such as bridging finance. So I use Lisa Orn and Cheryl from Keys Mortgages, and they're specialist buy-to-let lenders. I do know they do retail as well, but Lisa's very well known in the buy-to-let industry. I think it's a real false economy to try and go direct to banks. There's just too much change out there, too much options. You're much better to leverage a specialist in that area. And if you think that typically you're going to be borrowing 75% of the purchase price, you want to be making sure you're getting the best advice there. So typically a broker will deal mainly with banks. Some of them will also deal with crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a source that I've used significantly over the last couple of years. I've used it to do deals on the Wirral, and I've also used it to do deals in Plymouth. The last time we used it for a deal in Plymouth, I think we raised about £1 million in a couple of hours. So it's new innovative strategy out there, basically enabling you to give a better return to retail investors, but having a site to facilitate that. What I would say again about crowdfunding is it's a relatively new industry. There's a lot of providers that have now come up into this market. And again, it's such an important thing. You want to be working with someone who's got a track record. Crowd Property is my chosen one. They've got 100% payback to investors. What I particularly like about them, though, is that they're run by property people. So whilst they're providing finance, it's done by property people. You're talking to the individuals in it that can help you with your cases. You can get kind of a bit of flexibility if you need for it. If you'd like some details of the people I've got at Crowd Property, I'm happy to share it. But it's a great opportunity to access funds on a retail basis again. There's certain tools that I use to manage my finance and sourcing of funds. The first tool is a simple cash flow statement, and that shows my incomings and outgoings every month over a 12-month rolling period. That's crucial because that enables me to understand when I'm actually going to need funds and when I'm actually going to have to raise funds. The second tool that I use is a list of the investors and funding options that I've got available. So when I look at my cash flow statement and I know I'm making another acquisition and I know that I need 20 grand or I know 100 grand, I can look at my list of investors, and that includes myself, and I can see what is the cheapest rates that are available to me and how can I make sure that I'm accessing those rates in time for when I need it from a cash flow statement. So the two main tools I use is my cash flow statement and then a formal list of investors. So what are the top tips that I'd like to leave you with about funding? So first off, I think you should keep it simple, okay? Creative strategies are great if you used it at the right time, but my favourite approach is still to go and buy property, use cash, add value to it, and then refinance it. Straightforward and it's simple, okay? At the same time, I'm not going to ignore creative strategies, and I utilise a number of lease options, exchange and delayed completions, etc. So be aware of them, get educated, but don't walk away from really good deals because you're just trying to do something creative. Again, 90% of the deals I do, I'd argue, are straightforward cash purchases, and then at a later date getting debt put on top of them, or then potentially doing creative strategies if it's right for the seller at the time. Second key point I'd like to do is run out of your own money first. I get the mantra that's out there: use other people's money. You can use other people's money, you can give them a great return, but I would much rather give myself a great return rather than giving it to someone else's. I may be a bit old school as well. I like to have my own funds in a deal. It gives a bit of responsibility. It makes sure I'm only doing good deals and doing appropriate due diligence on them. Third, leverage your professionals. Again, funding is a key part of your property journey, your property business. There's some great brokers out there, and there's some great specialist crowdfunding companies there. Again, if you'd like details of who I use for my brokers, crowdfunding, drop me a PM and I'll share it with you. Ultimately, you will run out of your own money, so it is important that you tell everyone what you'll do. I've worked with people who have borrowed from lots of family and friends, lots of other business owners, just private investors, pension funds, people who've got to know that you're in this business and that's what you'll do. Ultimately, it won't be right for everyone for a lot of reasons, but again, you're not looking to use other people's money from 100% of people. You're looking for the 5 to 10% of people who are relatively well educated in the marketplace and want a better return, and also from certain people who simply want to help you out as part of that journey. And then 5, I've forgotten. What does 5 say?
Raising, getting something. Walk the line. Remember something.
Yeah. Whatever 5 is. Okay, yeah, 5 is yeah. And 5 is remember you will run it. Yeah, okay. So I'll just do 5.
Carry on, yeah.
Okay. And the last top tip is remember that you will run out of funds at one time. So you need to think of how you're actually going to raise additional funds so that you can continue in your journey. And when I say raise funds, you can really do that by 2 ways. You can do it by getting extra money coming in. So that could be by selling a property. It could be by doing a flip. But it can also be by cutting costs. So one of the things I'm doing this year is going through all my mortgages and seeing if we can refinance onto better products, thereby reducing the outgoings. I go through a process every couple of months when I take all my bank statements and I look at what I'm being charged and I see is there any cheaper rates out there. That can be from utility companies, it can be from personal phones, it can be from gym memberships that we all did and didn't use. And it's important to look at how you can get extra money by doing income generating stuff, but at the same time make sure that you're not just wasting money. My aim is to reach my financial goals with the least amount of properties as possible, so it's important that you have a tight ship that's supporting you from behind. Okay. If anyone would like a copy of the cash flow statement that I use, please drop me a PM message and I'll send it to you. Thanks for listening.